When you were down in NXT, you came in. How was Becky Lynch born? How would you describe yourself? Okay, I say Stone Cold, crazy, hell-raising redneck, anti-authority, Undertaker, the Dead Man, Rock, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, Becky Lynch.
Fiery, stands up for what's right, full of integrity, not to be messed with.
Not to be messed with.
Full of charm, full of harm, and ready to break your arm.
God dang, I like that. Have you used that in a promo yet?
Yes, I have. Yeah. Full of charm, full of harm. That's full of charm, full of harm, and straight fire.
How did acting school help you?
It taught me how to play in a truthful way and find the truth in everything. And I did clown as well. And I actually did my thesis on how clown work helps with bringing out a truthful performance. So I think that was it. You know, like for example, you look at a little kid and they're playing, right? And they're playing doctors and nurses. That kid believes it's a doctor and it believes it's a nurse or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And they believe that they've got to save the patient because their life is in their hands and they really believe it. And I think when we get older and sometimes we kind of lose that. And also some people are afraid to make an ass out of themselves. You know what I mean? I've fallen flat on my face more times than I care to remember, but you just kind of get up and you get on with it, and those kids are the exact same way. I think when you get older, you get a little bit more self-conscious. I think acting school helps rid you of those things.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Hey, y'all. Taking a moment to share a new podcast, True Underdog, recently launched by 4 times Entrepreneur of the Year award winner Jason Waller. It's real, it's raw, it's motivational. If you're looking for inspiring stories and killer entrepreneurship advice, you got to head over and subscribe to True Underdog Podcast. Jason Waller is the definition of a true underdog. He was raised in a trailer park, suffered childhood abuse, was kicked out of high school, and became a dad in his teens. After struggling to care for his young family and hearing the words no and you can't too many times, Jason found the power within and used his street smarts to start 3 companies from the ground up. With his latest venture, Power Home Solar, on the path to becoming a billion-dollar enterprise. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling motivated already. And trust me when I tell you, this guy's energy is contagious. Head over to True Underdog Podcast to hear how Jason and his high-profile guests turn their lives around to achieve massive success. Subscribe to True Underdog Podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app. Here's my take on I never went to acting school, but sometimes I see people acting like professional wrestlers rather than being a professional wrestler, and there's a big difference. Because the difference is putting asses in seats and having people believe in you. And for me, because my whole life, when I started watching pro wrestling about 7 or 8 in South Texas, you know, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so I'll go to wrestling school and, you know, I don't know what you were thinking. I never had any big intention of being a gigantic star or nothing like that. I just want to be a pro wrestler. But I was one. And so I never had to pretend. But to this day, in going back to when I was in the business, you know, watching guys pretend to be a wrestler and other guys that were, there's a difference. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's a big part of the connection factor that we were talking about a long time ago. You know, if you're convicted, you know, hey man, when someone buys a ticket, they're in, okay?
Yeah.
They're in for the ride and they want to believe. So for me, like I told you a while ago, man, when I'm out there, everything's real.
Yeah.
And so I'm not pretending, I'm being. And when I leave or in life, what do you do? Well, are you one of those pro wrestlers or sports entertainer, whatever these days? I lived it, breathed it, ate it every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, and absolutely. And I think as well, when you go out and you talk on the mic, sometimes people try to perform what it is, perform the words. No, you just talk. How we're talking. That's how people talk. And I think that sometimes happens where people just try to overperform or put too much into it.
Some people overperform, but also some people want to, and this is not an indictment on the system, but sometimes, it's almost like people want to just to be these perfect orators. They want to speak Well, I owe everybody a beer. If you listen to the podcast, hear my computer, my phone go off, I just owe everybody a beer. Becky, I owe you a beer. Some people just want to go out there and be the perfect speaker. Sometimes it's not being the perfect speaker and saying all the right things is what's going to put asses in seats. It's if you get screwed out of your SmackDown title, you come back with piss and vinegar and you're mad and you're angry, or someone did this to you or whatever. There's anger, or sometimes there's happiness, or there's a little somber time, or there's it's attitudinal and not necessarily going back to attitude era, or I've got to have a bad attitude to come off like a badass. It's a range of emotions, and highs and lows, and how you speak, and sometimes it's rhythm and cadence within a promo, and how you rope people in to believe, and also you have to be convicted in your cause as well. But it's not about going out there and just saying a bunch of words. It's believing in them.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that we're not just one thing, you know what I mean? We're not just going out there and just being pissed all the time, or we're not going out there being happy all the time. Like, we are everything. I'm not just always going to be like happy-go-lucky Becky. Right. Sometimes I'm going to go out and I'm going to be pissed because somebody drew a freaking spray paint yellow streak down my back, so I'm going to be pissed. So I'm not going to go out there all smiles and look at me, I'm happy, you know what I mean? But another time I just won the championship, I'm delighted with life, you know. So it is, or somebody kicked my dog, I'm really sad about it, you know. It's all those things that you just have to remember we're people.
Oh, about another beer. Becky, I apologize for my unprofessionalism. You know, this is the podcast, an award-winning podcast, which ain't never won a goddamn award. I watch my language because I have a lady sitting in front of me. Life on the road, life in the ring, perfection. What do you do when you blow a high spot in the ring?
When I blow a high spot in the ring?
Just keep going?
Just keep going. That's all you can do. Grab a hold. Grab a hold and talk.
Sometimes the crowd will pick up on it, but if you don't sell it, a lot of times they won't see it, or they'll just think it was part of the match or it's supposed to go down that way.
Yeah.
There was many times I've blown a couple of spots. I always hit the Luthez press, but normally the other person was in motion and I would jump up. Well, one time I was working with Triple H and he was in motion, or I was just standing there, whatever. I just jumped up in his arms and he grabbed me and he was holding me. I was like a big ass teddy bear, and I was like, God dang it. And he fell backwards finally, and I started beating the shit out of him. I was like, God dang it, God dang it, God dang it. And he was down there laughing his ass off. With respect to, having your match down, you pretty much mistake free all the time?
No, I make mistakes. I think everybody makes mistakes. Try not to.
What's your thought process?
Try to remove as much room for error as possible, but
and getting ready for a match, you go out there, you do your thing, your signature stuff. You pull the goggles up, you slide in the ring. I used to watch Jake the Snake Roberts, and he would be back there smoking a cigarette. He'd put the cigarette out with his foot, pick up his snake, throw it on the bag, and walk to the ring. Me, I'd pour a bottle of water on me just to get the ashes off because I'm like an albino. I'd go like this with my shoulders a few times to loosen up. I didn't have to get into character. I didn't have to spin myself up. I didn't have to turn myself up to a level. When the glass broke, I was ready. What does Becky Lynch do to prep for a match, or just to go out and cut a promo?
Same. I'll just kind of pace back and forth in the back. I don't have a warm-up routine. Most of the time I just warm up on my way down to the ring, you know, because I'm running, I'm full of energy, I'm all hyped. I don't really have a warm-up routine or anything like that, but I will just kind of shake everything out and kind of work on like my footwork, and I'll just like act like I'm about to face somebody, you know. So I'll just be kind of running around, just moving my feet, just like I was in a cage or in a fight, you know. And that's what I do, and then I go out.
Do you do any stretching? Are you, because that one deal, it was a great hold. Sasha put you in. You had the one arm back behind you, that other arm straight, and then she was standing on that arm. It looked fantastic. Feel okay?
Yeah, I feel fine. Yeah, not a bother.
So
yeah,
is stretching a part of your regimen?
I do yoga. Yeah, love me some yoga.
How have you done yoga?
At the moment, not so much, just because I've been such a gypsy.
How long have you been doing it?
About 2 years.
Did it help?
Yeah, helps loads.
With what, core or just flexibility?
Flexibility, yeah. So I'm not the most naturally flexible person in the world, but it helps. Yeah, and luckily, touch wood, I've been fairly injury free in my time in WWE. Sprained my hip flexor a couple of times, but that's it.
How do you spread a hip flexor?
Do you know, I found out that it was always from the top rope drop kick.
Oh, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. You hit a missile drop kick on Sasha that match, and I told Daniel Bryan a long time ago, I said, man, you got to stop throwing that missile drop kick, because that thing takes more of the person giving it than it does taking it. So how many of those are you going to do?
I only bust them out on special occasions.
Okay, so you're picking your spots.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They're a Christmas time move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just bust that out, and top rope leg drop, I'll bust that out from time to time, but I'm not going up there every match. Also, plus, if I'm doing that every match, it'll lose me.
How's the house show business?
Attendance? Oh, we were just in Europe, and it was phenomenal. Nearly sold out every single night.
How cool is it? What part of Europe?
We were in Spain and the UK.
So is it cool going to the UK because Ireland's just right there? Do you get a chance to get some family members come see you?
So I stopped off in Ireland on my way there. But it is cool because I normally have friends in most towns, and that's where I started. You know, I was 15, and during the summer there I went over and did my wrestling camps in Kent in a little.
Are you popular in the UK?
Fairly popular in the UK.
Where are you most popular?
Well, Spain was a hot crowd. Ireland.
Isn't it great?
Ireland, I'm a national hero. I'm just kidding.
I only wrestled in Ireland. I think it was on one tour, and of course, people were it was an amazing crowd because we were sold out every night. It's a very special time, and I hadn't been there enough, but I got a chance to go. Isn't it nice when you go to a place like Spain where you haven't, or maybe the company hasn't been before, or hasn't been very sporadically, so that, I mean, you can watch the first match and it's like, oh my God, these guys are easy. And I mean as a compliment, because you're just so in a fervor, to see, WWE, wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. So you have one of those easy crowds. It's like they're popping on a lockup.
Yeah.
Or just a tackle drop down, hip toss, arm drag. I mean, anything, and they're popping. And so it's like, yes.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you go out there, and you've been to these crowds, it's like they came, they paid their money, they're in the building, and it's almost like they're sitting on their hands. It's like, come on, guys, what are you doing? Help me out here.
Sometimes I think that's overexposure, and sometimes you'll get crowds where I'm like, why did you come here? You just want to boo everything. But some of those crowds, it's just they're so excited to see you, and they just want to be interacted with. That's all. They just want to see you. You're this larger than life character. You're Elvis. You know what I mean? And it's like seeing Elvis.
How many years do you think you got in you?
Until the wheels fall off. But listen.
Stop throwing that damn missile drop kick.
Okay.
Well, again,
only on occasions. Only on occasions. Maybe another 10.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
39.
Yeah.
Maybe reinvent yourself a couple times.
A few times. I've got so many ideas in my back pocket.
What do you think when you see the Undertaker show up? That guy, we would always kid each other way back in the day to see who's going to last longer. And of course, he outlasted me about 10 or 15 years. It's amazing. And he keeps coming back.
It's incredible. He's reinvented himself so many times, and the American Badass, and then to be able to just come back and get those pops, and to be able to do the matches that he does time and time again.
What were your thoughts on Goldberg coming back?